Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your hair just isn't what it used to be? Maybe it feels flat or too soft. Or like no matter how you style it, it just won't hold volume. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we get older, our hair changes. And if you have thin, fine hair, those changes can feel even more frustrating. But here's something comforting I want you to know. There are a few small mistakes many women make without realizing it. Mistakes that could be standing in the way of your hair looking thicker, fuller, and healthier. The good news, they're easy to fix once you understand them. I've been doing hair professionally for many years. I've worked with tens of thousands of clients. And these 5 things, they come up more often than you'd believe. So let's walk through them one by one. You might be surprised how a tiny change could make a big difference in how your hair looks and how you feel when you see yourself in the mirror. Ready? Let's begin. If this helps, please hit subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path. It really supports the channel, and I'll keep sharing simple, effective hair tips just for you. The difference between fine and thin. One of the most important, and surprisingly overlooked, pieces of understanding your hair is learning the difference between fine and thin. These 2 words are used interchangeably all the time, and that confusion sends many women down the wrong path with products, haircuts, and expectations. Fine hair refers to the diameter of each individual strand. If you pull a single hair between your fingers and it feels almost like silk, very soft and nearly weightless, that's a fine strand. Fine hair can be abundant or sparse, so you might have lots of fine hairs and a full-looking head. Or you might have fewer fine hairs, which will look more delicate. Thin hair, by contrast, describes density. How many hairs you have per square inch on your scalp. You can picture it like a bowl of noodles. Are they thin noodles or thick? And how many are in the bowl? Fine is the noodle texture, thin is how full the bowl appears. Why does this distinction matter so much? Because the right approach depends entirely on it. If you mistake dense fine hair for thin hair, you may switch to very heavy plumping products that weigh everything down, leaving the hair limp and lifeless. Conversely, if you assume you have fine hair when you actually have sparse but coarse strands, you might focus on lightweight styling tricks and miss opportunities to create real visual coverage through cut, color placement, or even hair pieces. In practical terms, someone with fine but dense hair will benefit from lightweight mousses, root-lifting sprays, and texturizing cuts that create grip without heaviness. Someone with coarse but thin hair will need solutions that add visual bulk, layers placed to create the illusion of fullness, strategic color to add depth, and perhaps the use of subtle toppers or extensions where appropriate. The emotional side of this mix is important. When women hear, "Your hair is thin," they often interpret that as a fault, a sign of decline. That shame or worry can make them chase quick fixes, salon fads and overpriced supplements that don't address the real issue. Knowing the root of the problem gives you back control. It shifts you from reacting to your hair with anxiety to working with it intelligently. Measure your density by looking at different parts of your scalp, near the crown, at the hairline, and above the temples, because thinning often shows in specific patterns. And try a simple strand test. Take one hair and the one next to it. If the strand between your fingers is barely there, it's fine. If it feels substantial, it's not. Armed with that information, you'll make smarter choices, spend less money, and get results that actually lift your confidence as well as your roots. Don't guess. Find the real cause. When your hair starts to behave differently, sudden shedding, gradually less volume, or patchy areas, guessing what's wrong is a common trap. Hair has many influences: genetics, hormones, medication, nutritional status, thyroid function, autoimmune conditions, and even stress can change how many hairs you have and how they grow. The danger of guessing is not just wasted time or money. It's frustration that chips away at your confidence. I've seen women who spent months trying every volumizing mask and growth serum available only to learn from a simple medical test that their thyroid was underactive, or that a commonly prescribed medication was the culprit. There are different types of hair loss patterns that tell a story. Genetic female pattern thinning tends to affect the crown and part line. Telogen effluvium, often triggered by stress, illness, or hormonal shifts, causes diffuse shedding across the scalp. Alopecia areata shows up as distinct patches. Knowing which pattern you're seeing helps your doctor and stylist pick a path that can actually help. What should you do? Start with the basics. Track changes. When did you first notice more hair in the brush? And any life events, recent surgery, childbirth, a new medicine, or a period of high anxiety. Then talk to a dermatologist or your primary care physician. A few blood tests, thyroid panel, iron studies, vitamin D and B12, sometimes hormone tests, can illuminate reversible causes. If a medical issue is found, treatments can be targeted. If tests are normal, you can then confidently move into cosmetic strategies without feeling you missed something critical. The emotional relief of getting a clear answer is profound. For many women, it transforms worry into action, whether that action is medical treatment, targeted supplements under supervision, or adaptive styling. Also, early detection increases options. If hormonal or genetic thinning is caught early, topical treatments and lifestyle interventions often work better. The key here is partnership. Work with medical professionals for diagnosis, and with a stylist who understands fine or thinning hair for cosmetic help. Don't let a single failed product or an unhelpful opinion from a friend stop you. The right diagnosis gives you dignity, and when you act from knowledge rather than fear, you'll see better results and feel more like yourself again. Color as a volume tool. Color is often dismissed as purely cosmetic, but for fine or thinning hair, it's a subtle surgical tool for perception. When hair is one flat shade from roots to ends, the eye sees a continuous plane. There's nowhere for light to break, and that flatness translates visually into less volume. Introducing dimension, through lowlights, soft highlights, balayage, or baby lights, creates depth and movement. This contrast tricks the eye into seeing texture and density where there may be less actual mass. The key is subtlety and placement. You don't need a full head dye or harsh regrowth lines to gain this advantage. Soft, face-framing pieces, delicate lighter strands around the crown, or slightly darker tones under layers can all produce the illusion of fullness without dramatic upkeep. For women with gray or silver hair, blended techniques like baby lights and tinted lowlights can be particularly flattering because they respect natural tones while adding life. Concerns about maintenance are valid, but modern techniques are kinder. Lived-in color, softer regrowth patterns, and root smudge methods make touch-ups less frequent. Many clients refresh this kind of color only every 5 to 6 months, or allow it to fade naturally. There's also an emotional component. Color can be an act of permission to celebrate your hair rather than hide it. When done to enhance movement, color becomes a way to honor what you have and amplify it visually. If you're unsure, ask for a consultation focused on the effect of light and shadow rather than a dramatic color change. A skilled colorist will show you how tone and placement can lift the eye and give your style life, without turning your hair into a maintenance project you dread. Finally, remember that color choices should be kind to your hair's condition. Healthier, less porous hair will keep color better and look shinier. Use nourishing, color-safe formulas and ask your stylist for low-damage options. With careful planning, color becomes a quiet but powerful act that renews not just your look, but your sense of possibility. Hands off, break the touching habit. One of the simplest yet most underestimated habits that sabotages volume is something many of us do unconsciously: touching our hair. It's soothing, automatic, and feels harmless, until you notice your carefully styled crown collapsing by midday. Every time you run your fingers through your hair, you transfer oils, moisture, and tiny particles that weigh down root, lift, and flatten texture. Beyond that, repetitive handling can cause breakage, especially on fragile fine strands, creating invisible short hairs that make styles look frizzed or thin. Recognizing this as a habit is the first step. Changing it is the real work. I ask clients to notice the triggers. Do you smooth your hair when you're nervous, tuck it behind your ear while reading, or twist it when you're thinking? Once you identify the moments, you can introduce alternatives. Keep a small comb or pick in your bag for intentional reshaping rather than fingers. Use a light, flexible hairspray after styling so hair feels finished and the urge to touch diminishes. When you feel the impulse, try redirecting your hands. Hold a cup, clasp them gently together, or rub a little hand cream in to occupy them. There's also an emotional layer. Touching hair can be a comfort mechanism. Replacing it with another calming gesture, squeezing a stress ball or taking a slow breath, keeps the soothing effect without costing you volume. If you travel or are out all day, pack a small dry shampoo or texturizing spray. A quick spritz at the roots revives lift without water. And it's a healthier refresh than running your hands through your crown. The payoff is dramatic. Styles that last longer, hair that feels cleaner between washes, and an overall boost to how you see yourself. You'll notice small changes, less limpness, more bounce, but these changes compound. Over time, breaking the touching habit becomes less of a chore and more of a gentle self-care ritual. You're preserving the look you created and protecting delicate strands from unnecessary wear. Condition with intention. Conditioner is a wonderful tool, softening, detangling, and protecting, but it's also the place where many of us accidentally surrender our volume. The mistake is simple: applying conditioner too close to the scalp. For most women with fine or thin hair, the roots are naturally softer and don't need the extra moisture that mid-lengths and ends do. When conditioner settles at the root, it creates weight, flattens lift, and short-circuits volumizing products. The solution is practical and immediate. Flip your head, apply conditioner from midshaft to ends. Use your fingers like a comb to distribute it where hair has been stressed, and rinse thoroughly while the head is tilted so water carries residue away from the scalp. For shorter styles, pixies, bobs, lobs, be extra mindful because it's easy for product to creep to the root. If you use leave-in treatments, target the lengths and avoid the crown. Choose lightweight conditioners formulated for fine hair, and alternate occasional deeper treatments only on the ends where they're needed. There's also a tactile benefit. Less product at the root means your hair responds better to styling tools and root lift sprays. And emotionally, this small shift can feel like reclaiming an easy, everyday victory. You get the soft, protected ends you want without sacrificing the lift you need. Now, to bring everything together, we've talked about understanding fine versus thin, seeking a proper diagnosis instead of guessing, using color purposefully to create dimension, breaking the touching habit to preserve lift, and conditioning with intention so roots remain free to rise. Each of these adjustments is straightforward and gentle, but together they add up to a noticeable transformation. It's not about chasing youth. It's about honoring the hair you have and learning how to present it at its best. These changes respect your natural texture and your life. No miracles required, just a little knowledge and care. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path and click the bell so you won't miss our next video about the best haircuts that add volume without taking length away. Your next great hair day might be one small change away. I'll see you there. Take care.